All right, well, here we are walking up to Bayou. We had to park maybe, I don't know, 600 yards away. It's a pretty crowded line up here. So they let grand seniors and stuff park closer, of course, but we had a pretty decent walk. Beautiful range, especially if you love humidity. But there we go. Everybody's getting lined up. This is probably the third biggest lineup match in the country next to Nationals and Southwest Nationals. There's 2/3 of the Southwest National and National field is here right now. And, you know, as far as like ranked shooters, I think there's like 31 ranked shooters here today. So it's going to be a pretty intense match. So see what happens. All right, guys, I'm here with Vonnie.
F-Class John.
So what brought you out here today, Vonnie?
Oh, man, I just came out here to see what's going on out here in Texas, man. It's beautiful. I mean, you guys were shooting great.
Where are you from?
I'm from Houston.
Houston, okay.
Texas. Came out here to see F-Class John, you know, Eric and all the rest, you know, so
Yeah.
it's great. There you go.
And so you were telling me you're just getting a rifle built?
Yeah, I'm getting a rifle built. It's a 284. Speedy's going to build it. You know, Will did the stock, and Jim Borden is doing the action.
Oh, man, that's going to be nicer than mine.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice. Yeah. So I'm taking notes.
Nice. So you just need to get some components, you were telling me?
Yeah. So I'm dropping off some components for a Speedy. The only thing I'm looking for now is the right scope. I decided I would come here and ask F-Class John what scope I should get. And so whatever he says, that's the one I'm going to get. Night Force or Mars?
I don't shoot either.
There you go.
You know, I shoot a Trijicon 10 mile now. I've had Night Force, they're great. I've had Callus, they're great. I've had Golden Eagles, they're great.
Yeah.
You know, the biggest thing is like, man, if you can ever get a chance to get to a match where guys, you know, let you sit behind a gun. I should have told me, man. I would have let you get behind my gun. But look, you know, optics are very personal, and it depends on your eyes and
Absolutely.
stuff like that. But buy a quality scope. You probably won't be the last one you buy.
Right, yeah. Definitely.
So,
okay.
Well, hey, man, appreciate you coming out. It's great meeting you.
I appreciate you, man.
And we got some pictures, and I hope you got some good memories going back.
Absolutely, man.
All right, man.
Thank you.
All right. Well, this is what the pits look like down here at Bayou. They're cantilever style, kind of like I've shown you at Ben Avery in Arizona. And, you know, there's the impact berm. And their storage containers. And so they just use ballast here to help cantilever. You can see bricks and stuff in there. So these should be pretty good. Out of the gate, you know, so we were in the pits first. I showed you that. So relay 1 shoots, then relay 2 shoots, then relay 3. So the way it works is, you know, I've kind of explained this before, and it's goofy, but the relay is what order you shoot in a match, but a match is not like an all day or all weekend thing. You know, there's match 1 of the day, match 2 of the day, match 3 of the day, and then match 4 is when they add up all 3 matches. So there's technically 4 matches in a day, and it's goofy. And sometimes we call them relays, sometimes we call them matches, but technically they're all matches. So this is match 1. I was on relay 4. You can see over here, and you know, it wasn't bad. I dropped 3. there were a couple cleans, some 99s, 98s. It was not a great out of the gate start. I knew my gun wasn't shooting as good as I wanted it to. It was probably a B plus, A minus type gun. And this range honestly just kind of threw me a little bit. It was just a little bit weird. But honestly, I felt pretty good about this. I walked away from it. A guy shooting next to me is somebody that I really respect. That is just a phenomenal shooter, and we actually shot the exact same score. So I thought, well, okay, some of it was me, some of it was my gun, this or that. But not a bad way to get started. Match two. And, again, I'm kind of consistent. You can see I shot a 197 before, 196, but I was really happy with my X count. Just, these nines they were rough. A couple of them were verticals. Again, I just don't think my gun was as tight as I needed it to be. And that combined with a little bit. So I'm not a massive believer that range vertical is a huge thing, but it does exist. And if you have a gun that is not tight enough, range vertical will push you out. And to be honest, a couple of these pushed me out. But after two matches here, I was sitting, above middle of the pack, and I was only a few points off of, being near the top, and I wasn't feeling horrible about it. So, again, the guy next to me, we were shooting nearly identical. So again, not great, not horrible, but I was having fun, and overall it felt good. I was actually really happy with this X count though, even though I had a low 196 score. I was really happy with the 10, so that was kind of my takeaway from this one. We headed back to the pits, and when we came out of the pits, they had updated. Let's see, this is match one, and I think that was all they had updated was match one at this point because match two hadn't finished. But you can see after match one, here I am. Oh no, wait. No, they had aggregated it. So they had, oh yeah, here's match two. So you can see my match one score 197, match two 196. And I was sitting, I was actually feeling pretty good. I was right up here. There's a whole nother, you can see it over here, a whole nother sheet down below. I was feeling pretty good. It wasn't where I wanted to be, but it was close enough that I was still, kind of in striking distance up here. And then we went into the third match.
We will be going into prep time in 2 minutes.
All right, getting ready for the last relay of the day. It is hot and humid out here.
No, you can turn it
Little
off.
fatty.
It is a little
I
fatty.
just didn't get back there after I started it. Carissa, is your...
This is how it's been all day. That flag's doing one thing, this flag's doing another. And it happens all the way down the line. Tricky range. Conditions, and the conditions weren't horrible, but this was definitely a tough range. I'm not going to lie. It was a very tough range for me to read. I struggled with it, and then going into this third match here, I was feeling pretty good about how I was shooting. You can see the score. Spoiler alert, I didn't do great. But here was what I did really wrong on this one, and I'm just going to tell you that it was a tough learning for me. So I told you how I was shooting next to somebody that I really respect. His name's Eric, not Cortina. Not that I don't respect Eric Cortina, but another really good shooter named Eric. And it's somebody who is a very controlled shooter, somebody that, again, is always right up there on the boards. And him and I, through match one, had literally been stopping and starting at the exact same point. So, the Mirage would flip or something would slow down or speed up and we'd stop. And it seemed like we were really synced in terms of what we were reading. And then match two happened and the same exact thing. A big switch came. We both stopped. I think we both sat on our guns for 5 or 6 minutes. Then we jumped back in about the same time. And it's not like you're talking to the person next to you, but you're seeing what they're doing and you're seeing what you're doing and you're watching their impacts and you're seeing your impacts. And so I was feeling probably a little too comfortable that him and I were shooting the same game. And then we went into match three, and you can see I really struggled on this front half. And so here's what happened. We shot some of these, and to be honest, this was like, if I remember right, probably a 7-minute duration here for these first 10 shots, because it was start and stop and start and stop, and you can see it was just a train wreck. you know, it was either 0 or hero, 9x, 99xx, 99x. You know, I was either drilling the center or I was losing them out the sides. And here's what happened. I was stopping mentally, whether subconsciously or whatever, I was finding myself stopping when the guy next to me was stopping. And then I'd see him jump back in and I'd think, okay, well, that means it's got to be the condition that I want to shoot. And I was sort of forcing myself to shoot his game instead of shooting my game that just happened to be coinciding with his the last 2 matches. And that really messed me up because I wasn't seeing whatever he was seeing, and I was sort of forcing myself into it. And then I sort of came out of that, and you can see this back half. I sort of just snapped out of it and kind of said, "What the heck am I doing here?" You know, but by that time the damage was done, and you can see I finished strong here because I was back to playing my game, and it was just a really good lesson to recognize that it's okay if other people are shooting the same as you, and if you're seeing the same switches and the same, you know, conditions and pickups and let-offs or angle changes or whatever it is, but don't get caught up playing somebody else's game just because they're shooting. And I'll tell you, when these 9s were hitting, he was hitting 10s or X's. And that only just drives you into a little bit more of insanity. And so I really had to just, right around, I think it was on this 9 or 10, somewhere in here, I just stopped. And I think I bought back in on this 9 after a couple of minutes and then finished out strong. But this was a tough lesson. This one hurt. I dropped pretty far down the board after this one. And, you know, as much as I want to stay positive, after this relay, it was tough to do anything but try to stay on the first page going into Sunday. So I think, you know, that's just the way it goes. But tough lesson, but a good lesson. And, you know, I'm not perfect. I make mistakes. I do things I shouldn't. I think we all get wrapped up in different things for different reasons. And it's, you know, just one of those things you got to learn the hard way sometimes. Fun with Vonnie there. You guys, you know, got to see, you know, I mean, it's always fun when people come and say hi, and I'm always, I don't know, I get a little embarrassed, but it was great having a couple different guys come up and say hi to me and Eric, and it's always fun. So anyway, here's the end of day 3, and you can see, you know, I'm still on the first page, which, you know, that's great. I'm happy about it, but you can see my score really, you can see the separation here. Like at the end of match 2, I think it was only about maybe 5 or 6 points separating me from being in the top, you know, 2 or 3, 4 here. You can see after that last relay, a lot more separation. I dropped at that point 14 points. You can see up here in the leaders, they were at most, Todd had dropped 8, you know, and that's a huge separation here. So I knew going into the next day, I was going to have to really just focus. My goal at this point, I mean, it would take, I mean, look, it's one of those things. You want to stay positive. You want to say, look, you know, everybody has a chance. But the reality is the way that Tim and PJ were shooting, and both Ted and Todd, I mean, these 4 guys here were just hammering it. And so you just got to sit there and say, okay, what are my realistic goals at this point? And, you know, I had fallen a little bit. My goal was, you know, like I just wanted to get up here somewhere, you know, come up, maybe finish 10th, 15th, you know, somewhere in that spot there, I think would have been realistic given how many points I was dropping and how consistent a lot of these guys were shooting. Ted, how was the day, man?
Today was a good day.
Yeah, so which gun is it that we were leaning on last night? This one here, right?
This one here.
And you guys just watched that video where it was, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 guys. 3 guys holding it down, 1 guy ramming a rod down. I mean, it was an absolute nightmare. We broke 2 tools. It was a mess and a half. And how'd the gun shoot today?
I shot really well today.
Yeah? What place are you in right now?
I think I'm in 3rd.
3rd place. And you only dropped how many points today?
6.
Yeah, that's freaking amazing, dude. So I know that looked horrific when we were doing that to that gun, but I mean, there you go. Like you can't dispute it. And your final relay, like, I mean, everybody was dropping points left and right. And how was your last relay?
Cleaned it with 14.
Clean with 14 X's on a gun that was literally beaten the night before. So
1,000 yards.
1,000 yards, 214 X. That's just insane. All right, man. Thanks for sharing. All right, we'll see you out there tomorrow.
All right, John, why are you so excited?
All right, so there's a little known secret about me that I've never told anybody. I've never cleaned a target at 200. So
at 1,000?
They're at 1,000, yeah. So, I mean, despite like all my accomplishments at 600 and I doing well at Southwest and all this stuff, I've always had this demon on my back, which is never cleaning a target at 1,000. And today, here in the beautiful state of Texas, at the TSRA match, I just shot a 214.
Wow, not only a clean, but a good one.
Yeah, man, and I'm not gonna lie. Like, I was like this, loading my ammo, and I dropped a couple out of the chamber. Like, I just had to take a breath. The guy scoring for me was kind of laughing. I mean, like, it was nerve-wracking because I've had a lot of close calls. I've had a lot of 99s. I've always felt good, and I've always found a way to drop one. And massive monkey off my back now. So, you know, it can be done. If you've got a goal, keep shooting for it. You'll get it.
Congratulations.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
You
man.
know, my first clean ever happened here at TSRA.
Oh, really?
As well. Yeah.
Twinsies.
Twinsies. Good job, man.
Thanks.
Proud of you.
All right. I kept it centered.
Good job.
Right. So, you know, it's not something I really like talking about because, to be honest, it's honestly been something that's really embarrassing to me. You know, I just never felt like I belonged on the line, having never cleaned the 1,000-yard line before. So this was massive for me. You know, you don't see it on camera or anything, but literally Todd, who's a really good friend of mine, was scoring for the guy next to me, and he's only one of two people that knew this about me, that I had never cleaned a 1,000-yard target. And you know, I've gotten really close, and I've been with him both times. I've been really close, and he's always, you know, just really been rooting for me. And man, I'll tell you what, I shot this 214, and I jumped up, and I literally just ran over and gave him a hug, and I was, you know, it sounds stupid, but I was literally like crying. I was so excited. This was a massive thing for me. It's something I've been really, really working on. And, you know, I'm pretty good at shooting in really rough conditions. I'm pretty good at shooting overall, pretty good aggregates. But on any one thing, I've just never cleaned a target, and it's always been just this monkey on my back. So this was massive for me. And then to do it with such a commanding X count really felt great. And the best part is, I'll show you here. Watch this. Blue box down here. You can barely read my name, but this little blue box down here, that's me. And you can see it's highlighted because I actually had, I think it's third match winner or something, it's fourth match winner. I can't remember what it is, but yeah, I was super psyched about that. So not only was it my first clean, but I had the fourth highest score out of anybody on that relay. And that gets you $5, so it got me $5. But more than anything, it was just, you know, that personal confidence, knowing that it's something I can do now. I've always felt like I could do it. I've just never been able to do it. So, you know, that was just massive for me. And, you know, it really didn't help my standings, to be honest, because it was a pretty easy relay. There were a lot of clean targets, so there wasn't a lot of movement here. You can see I'm pretty much on the same place on the board after that relay. So there's only, or that match. So there's only one more match. You see this empty column, one more match to go. Conditions at this point were starting to get a lot trickier. But you know, this was just, this made my week, like really made my week. I can't express to you guys what this meant to me. So anyway, let's take a look at the final match. The last match. And you're probably wondering, why aren't there people over here shooting? Well, we get 30 minutes, and I was really trying to be controlled on this one. I was having trouble. It was moving all over the place. This guy right here, this is Peter Johns, PJ. Incredibly nice guy and just one hell of a shooter. He actually won nationals in the TR division a couple years ago. Just super, super talented guy and just one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet on the line. And he was scoring for me. So this is me. This is probably 22 minutes in. Most everybody else had finished. You know, I kind of knew my day was in at that point, and I was just trying to take some controlled shots. You know, at that point, you kind of sit there and go, well, what do I want to get out of this? Do I want to just run the rest of my ammo out and be done, or do I want to try to learn something? And to be honest, I wanted to try to learn something. So I was watching the conditions. I was really trying to do my best. I did not do a great job. I'll show you the score here in a minute. But to give you an idea of what we do sometimes, and this is not an isolated incident, but prior to me getting back on my gun here, here's what I looked like. Sometimes the conditions just aren't what you want to shoot in. Maybe you were watching for a right to left, and that's what your sighters were in. That's what you were comfortable in. That's where you could see the velocities. and it takes a hard switch, or it's just really erratic. Sometimes you just got to come off your gun and take a break. It's better than throwing bad shots down line. So I didn't even know somebody had done this, but um, this was just me kind of collecting myself and getting back on the gun. And here's how I finished out. All I can say is at least I'm consistent from the last match of each day at 193, which, trust me, I'm not happy about. But it was rough. There were guys who dropped 6, 7, 8 points on this one, who are incredible shooters, and then there's guys who literally cleaned it on this relay. So, sometimes it's just bad timing. Sometimes they see something you don't. That's just how this sport works. Everybody sees things differently. Everybody's watching different conditions, different mirage, different flags. And it just wasn't my day, wasn't my weekend. I had that clean. That was a huge takeaway for me. I had a great time with everybody I was with. But, kind of a rough way to finish. Let's look at the final scores here. And here we go. So, I mean, look, at the end of the day, I think it was 21st place out of 60 something competitors in F class. That's still a very good finish, and I'm not complaining. It's just, it wasn't my day to be at the top, and that's fine. I made mistakes. I own it. That's just the way it goes. And when you're talking about a field like this, I mean, just in the F Open side, I think there was 25 of the top 50 ranked F Open shooters. So, I mean, that's just an insane field to be shooting with. So many talented guys. I mean, you have Tim up here who just killed it. You got PJ, Ted, Todd, Barry, Omar, Norm, like all these guys. I mean, these are all just incredible guys. Dave Gosnell, my buddy David, Tracy. Like, there isn't a slouch on this list. So, any one of these people have the ability to win these matches. And so when you're shooting in a field like that, it's for me, being on the first page, that's a victory after the first day was over. I felt like I was composed enough to keep my place there. So that's a win. It's not being up at the top, but you're not always up at the top, and that's fine. But it was a hell of a match. Had a really good time, and like I said, I got a really great takeaway. I got my little place here with my 214. And if you notice, just to kind of show you, see right here where there's another 214, and you're probably asking, well, I got a 214. How come I got that? They have what's called Creedmoor, which is how they determine who wins a tie. And it means that if you count back from your last shot, I shot an X before he shot an X. Basically, whoever shoots the highest score first is ultimately who gets that. So it was tight, and Ken's a hell of a shooter. In fact, he's the one that was one ahead of me at Southwest Nationals. So he was third place, I believe, second or third place at Southwest Nationals. Just an incredible competitor. So, just one of those things. But just a really great match. Had a really good time, and that's just the way it goes. So that's it. Was over. We decided to go hit the Bighorn Barbecue / gas station. But this place was huge inside, big old, big old like barbecue type place, and just hanging out with Eric and Todd and Ted and just Jason, Jeremy, just a lot of really good guys, and that's what makes these matches so much fun. I mean, I wish I could video our conversations when we're eating or at the house and stuff like that, because really those are the times that really make these matches special. So. Just a great time in Texas. If anybody's wondering, I went for the sausage, brisket, and mac and cheese, and I accidentally hit my plate here. But it wasn't bad for barbecue. I mean, for what it was pretty tasty, and a good way to finish out match day. Thought sometimes it's better that you don't know what you're sleeping on until you're cleaning the bed up. This was what I found at 3:30 in the morning before we headed out to the airport. It's dry, it's still gross, but sometimes ignorance is bliss. So anyway, thanks for watching these videos. I never intended to make 4 of them, but there was just so much stuff that I wanted to share and just show you guys kind of a little bit of the behind the scenes of what we do when we go to matches. And I'll try to do some more of that at some of these matches that are coming up. We've got a bunch this year, and you know, I know you guys like watching it and I have fun doing it. So thanks for watching. You guys have a good one. We'll talk later, and hopefully my next bed doesn't look like this.